Hey guys, welcome back to The Occasional Angler. So we're heading towards the end of the bass season. I've got one more video in me, I think, here. I'm going to go out. I want to review this little thing. Now, you may or may have not heard of these, but this won Best Saltwater Reel in iCasts this year. This is the PENN Authority. So all the gearing is CNC'd stainless steel. Very, very hard to do that, apparently. Very hard on machinery, so hence the price point. So this is the reel itself. What do you get in the box? It comes with a case, a neoprene case, which is quite nice, so you can actually put it over the rod. And it's got a pouch in the front here, which just put that down for a second. So it's got a pouch like that, and then it's got a second pouch like that, so you can put the reel handle in there, and then that can go over the rod. It also comes with a secondary handle, which is a spongy handle, so if you don't like the metal one, which is actually quite nice, it's quite nicely detailed and feels very solid, but if you like something a bit more tactile, that is included as well. One thing I will say is a bit spongy, but probably a bit spongy for me. I quite like the slightly harder Hyperlon, but it does feel nice. Also, it comes with a holder for your line, so that can just go over the spool, so you don't have to try and get it into a clip, which is useful. So that's the reel. It weighs about 400 grams, 405 grams off the top of my head, which is probably about twice the weight of like a normal Shimano 3000, or just over probably. If you got something like the Twin Power, which is probably the equivalent of this, the Twin Power is probably more like 300 grams. So you are looking at a heavier reel, which has its pros and cons. If you use a reel all day casting, it could be slightly heavier, too heavy possibly. But the other side of that is having a heavy reel sometimes does balance out rods a bit, so having a bit of weight at the back isn't always such a bad thing. It just really depends on the rod. What else can I tell you about this? So probably the biggest selling point about this is its IPX rating. It's IPX8, which means that it can be submerged underwater for down to 1 meter for 30 minutes, and there'll be no ingress of water into the actual main body of this reel, so that's pretty impressive, which means it's good for like going out on kayaks and things like that. Buttery smooth drag, and it can pump out some whopping amount of drag. I mean, like more than you would ever be able to really use on the sort of rods and reels which you're using. Potentially if you used it for jigging, you know, potentially, because I mean this would probably double up nicely as a jigging reel, a light jigging reel. Then perhaps you might get some of the use out of that drag to its full extent. So that's the reel. It's loaded up with, I think it's Berkeley Slick braid, and I'm using the Lucky John Van Rex. This is the Twitching 28, which is a great sort of budget spinning rod. Really good on the kayak. It's got quite a lot of power down the bottom, and then it's got a slightly more flexible tip, so you can actually impart a bit of action, but you've still got a lot of low down grunt. Another thing which I will show you is that I've upped the leader strength. So I got cut off by a couple of big fish recently, and because I fish over structure where they can cut you off, so I've gone up to, this is a 0.55 mil fluorocarbon leader. That's strong. So that's the probably 45 pounds. It's pretty thick. you know what, hasn't affected my catch rate at all. So I'm sticking with this at the moment. Another thing which I'll show you, which is quite interesting, and so typically when you're thinking of bass lures, you're thinking about lures like this. Well, if I can get it out, you're thinking about sort of long minnow style lures, something like that. You know, they're long minnows, and could be suggested that they look a little bit like sand eels. I'm going for this. This is the Lucky John Shady. So that's it. Much smaller. You know, it's quite a small bait really. Only really sort of two and a half inches maybe. I swapped it out with some trebles. I swapped the trebles out with some singles. Deeper diving crankbait, and absolutely thumps out a lot of vibration. The bass won't have seen things like this before. This kind of lure is not in vogue for bass fishing. I've taken it out, and guess what? It's been catching bigger bass than the other lures, and it's been catching more regularly. So there you go. Sometimes with lure fishing there's a lot of fashion involved with stuff, and trying out different stuff to see if they'll take it is really worthwhile. So enough of me yabbering. Let's get out fishing and let's see if we can get some fish.
Cool. We're in. Okay. This feels like a good fish. Keep this up from the bottom as much as you can. Oh no! It got off. That was a good fish. That was a good fish. Damn. Get off. That felt like a really decent sized bass. Didn't get a really good strike on it. Okay, try it again. Whoa. Skull dragging this one across the surface. Yeah, it's a nice bass, it's a nice bass. This one's not as big as the one that we just lost, but still a good sized bass. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Beauty. Absolute beauty. What a fish, eh? Lovely. Right, that one can go back. Nice fish. That's just pound to pound really do take some pieces. Hold it around the place for a fish. All the fish. Okay, there we go. Okay, beauty. Get that one back in. That's on the Lucky John Lucky John Shady Crank. There's a new PENN Authority. Oh, they're around here somewhere. Oh, we're in. Oh. Okay, little one. Oh, release yourself across those. Well, this one is a big fish. This one. This one is a big one. Then, got a mark. Go down, please. Well, he's not as big as I thought. Just biting. Not a big fish. Still a nice fish, look at that. On the Lucky John Van Rex, twitching 28, and PENN Authority 3,500. Lovely. Lovely. Well, another hit and a half. There we go. Whoa. There we go. Lovely. Right, back that one goes. So, what can I tell you about this reel and this rod? Well, it is very smooth. It's incredibly smooth, which is good. I have had pen reels in the past, not as smooth. This feels more on the kind of Shimano Daiwa end of smoothness, which is a big bonus. Drag, effortless really. I mean, I don't think those fish particularly broke a sweat with this reel. Even though actually they do fight very hard, those bass, but I think that would be just as at home on a 20 or 30 pound tuna, which would be cool. And hopefully I'm going to Madeira in about a few weeks time, and I'm going to try and catch a tuna. We'll see, but that's the reel which I'll be taking. The rod. Let me carry on with the reel. Okay, so it's got an interchangeable handle as well. So it's got the aluminium handle on there. Felt fine, didn't feel slippery particularly. The replaceable one is a Hypalon one. The only issue I've got with the Hypalon one is it's quite a spongy Hypalon. I've got a Gamexus one from my Vanford, which is a much harder Hypalon, and I think I prefer that to the one which comes with the Authority. So, but again, horses for courses. But it probably will give you a little bit more room for purchase on the reel. You know, it really is a personal preference, and look as well. You know, some people love all metal. I'm not that bothered. It was, how could I explain it? I didn't notice the reel, and that's probably a good thing. Like, you know, when we were fighting the fish, I didn't really notice the drag, didn't really notice the weight of it. It was good. I think where that reel will really shine is when you put it up against something big, right? And I'm talking fish, you know, closer to the sort of 10 kilo mark, I think, or 5, 10, 15 kilo mark. I think that's where that reel really will probably shine, because the drag is phenomenal on it. But those fish definitely put it through its paces, and it enjoyed it. You know, it was nice. The rod, so the Van Rex twitching 28. So quite a tippy rod, loads of grunt down low, and then quite a lot of tip action on it, so which allows you to impart those switches, I guess. It was good because because of the lower down grunt, it meant that I could get those single hooks to set properly. 28 gram, fine. Curve, really nice fighting curve, very sort of progressive, no issues there, and a really good value rod because they're not that expensive. They're kind of more of the budget range, but you know what, you can spend a lot of money on a fishing rod, and like the improvements are after a while become marginal. You know, you pay 200% more for 5% improvement in the rod. So it is what it is. But it's, again, it was a fun rod. I like it. I've used it quite a lot. I used it for zander fishing quite a bit, vertical jigging, and it's good and it's perfect for this kind of stuff. The shorter length really helps as well, fishing off the bait. Okay guys, so if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Please leave comments.